Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race recap show for All Stars Season 2, Episode 1, titled All-Star Talent Extravaganza. I am your host, Joe Batance, and I am joined, as always, by two, far more adequate co-hosts than I am. From the podcast Dubious Intent, please welcome Daniel Jucifer Brewer.
Jucifer? That sounds vaguely racist and yet not at the same time. Hi, Joe Batance. How are you this evening?
All eye of the beholder. I'm great. How are you, Daniel Brewer?
I'm doing well, Joe Batance. I am excited to talk about Episode 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star Season 2.
Yeah, I wrote this script. I don't know why I wrote Episode 2. Maybe I was just being aspirational there.
Well, we did put out our first show of the season. We put it out, where we talked about just the first 10 minutes of the show and our first thoughts of it. So this is our second show of the season, but we are still talking about, episode. Wow, it's confusing. I don't know. Hey, there's somebody else here that you can talk about.
Yeah, and he's from the podcast Pod with my co-pilot. Please welcome Taylor, the Latte Boy.
What's up, guys? What's up, bro? Hey, we gonna talk about some tits tonight? Can we?
Wow, who is this person?
I'm Mask, and I'm looking for other masks.
This is all because my co-host on my other show said that Taylor's role on the show was to sound like the gay one. So Taylor, of course, yeah.
What's funny though is in trying to sound butch, Taylor sounded gayer.
Hello, boys. How are you?
How are you, Tayller?
I'm doing all right.
How is your Tuesday evening going?
It's okay. It's okay. We'll just leave it. It's okay.
Oh God, there's trouble in paradise.
No, there's not trouble in paradise. Things are okay, but we're getting ready to get hit with a tropical storm. So, before you sign
Hurricane Bianca?
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the trailer?
No. I bought tickets to the premiere.
Oh, okay. My condolences.
I know.
Honestly, it's no Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, but it is, it looks like, it's probably the movie of the summer.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I know that, I know. I have seen little bits and pieces that have come out online and I'm like, ooh, it doesn't look too hot, but, oh well. This week, fan favorites from seasons past enter the workroom for one more shot at drag royalty. The queens pay a visit to the library, show off their varying degrees of talent, act surprised at the numerous plot twists, and break down in tears when Michelle says they're not perfect little snowflakes. Fifi O'Hara, Coco Montrese, and Adore Delano were in the bottom three, while Roxy Andrews and Tatiana lip-synced for their legacy. In one of the show's plot twists, the winner of the lip-sync got to select who went home. Roxy Andrews was declared the winner and asked Coco Montrese to sashay away. Ladies, any initial thoughts on the episode?
First of all, before you get this, we're throwing shade at poor little Adore. Don't make Adore cry, Joe Batance. Don't make me hurt you. Don't make me hurt you.
Just wait till we get to that part of the show. I'm sure it's gonna incite a lot of wonderful Facebook messages for us.
You know what? Aside from all that stuff, I did think that Michelle's criticism of her was badly phrased, because on the one hand, you hear Michelle Visage all the time say that drag has no limits. Drag is not about conforming, blah, blah, blah. Yet she consistently wants people to do a very specific kind of drag. And it's like, Adore is a name. Adore has albums. Adore performs all over the world. It's like, that is her thing. It's like, you wouldn't say that to, I don't know, who am I trying? Like Sia. Like, you wouldn't say to Sia, if you just cut the hair on that wig, it really annoys me that you're just like, that's her thing. That's her stick. That's her brand. And I think Tadra Kaul was very, but again, that's later in the show.
But we're not at that part of the episode. We're talking about the general episode. Taylor, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was one of the best episodes of Drag Race I've ever seen.
I agree with you.
I enjoyed it from the minute it started till the minute it ended.
I have a question for you. I told Sweet Michael today, who's never seen one episode of Drag Race, that I would buy him this episode, because even though he doesn't know these queens, it's one of the best episodes I've ever seen, and it might inspire him to go watch the other seasons. Mm-hmm. And so, do you agree with that assessment?
I do, and only that my partner has only watched a couple of seasons and wasn't as familiar with most of the queens that were on this episode, and he was very invested in it. He loves Katya. Katya is one of his favorites. But he was very much, I am totally in for the whole season. So somebody that doesn't normally watch it, I think would still appreciate it, even if they don't know all of the backstory from seasons past.
Taylor, what do you think? Not Taylor, I'm sorry, Daniel.
Yeah, hi, I am Daniel Brewer. I absolutely love this episode. I thought it was great. There was a few minor things, but I mean, you get those everywhere, right? I mean, this is the reason that we do podcasts about the shows, because we love it. I thought it was a great show. I like the changes that they made. I like the top two singing. I like the whole new format change. I like that they're keeping them on their toes by throwing out twists to them. So yeah, wow, I can't talk. I really did. I like the show. I like this episode a lot. I'm hoping that it stays this level, all season long.
You know what's funny is they filmed it immediately after they filmed season 8. Like, it's like not even really a break. But you can see the money in this episode. Like, it looks like they've poured money into this show. We'll get to how Rue looked and everything, but wow. All right, let's jump back into it. Back in the workroom, the girls have little time for casual banter as RuPaul enters to announce the first twist.
Because you are all-stars, I will not be eliminating any queens this season. What? What?
Bitch, what?
What's happening? We're all freaking out.
What was the question?
After the girls' feigned shock, RuPaul didn't stop with the fake surprise twists.
Because you are all-stars, I will only be rewarding success.
Oh.
Each week, instead of the bottom two lip-syncing for their lives, the top two will lip-sync for their legacy. And the winner will receive $10,000. So,
Okay, so guys, we knew this twist was coming, and it was a widely spread rumor that it was coming. But what did you think of the way it was structured, Daniel Brewer?
Well, I mean, we knew that the twist was coming on the one hand, but we didn't. At least I didn't know about the $10,000 aspect of it. So I think that was a nice little grab there, because it makes them work for it, right? If without the $10,000 incentive, it would be really easy to just try to stay in the middle of the pack. So you never had to be at risk of going home, and you didn't have to risk making people angry by sending their friends home. So by adding the extra $10,000 thing in there, I thought was a really nice twist. But yeah, no, I like I said, I really like the twist a lot. Granted,
go ahead.
The panning to the camera, all the shocked looks were a bit histrionic.
What? It really is some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my entire life. It was like, what? Bitch, what? Bitch, what just happened? Taylor, what were your thoughts?
Well, and yeah, when you consider that later on in the interview, what did they do? Where they said, show us how you responded when she said that you were going to win $10,000. And then you've got Alyssa Edwards doing the whole like, what? Looking around. Yeah. But she's sitting in a hotel room someplace.
Right, yeah. At the end of the day, she reacts the exact same way.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea of the $10,000, like exactly what Daniel said. I think it plays into the psychology of it a little bit more. It's a little bit more, like you said, it's a lot more of an incentive, I would think, especially in a situation where you think to yourself, and they didn't know this at this point, but later on, well, if I'm in the top two, if I don't win, I don't have to worry about the one who votes the other one, who has to vote one of my friends off. So, at this point, they kind of need that $10,000 to be an incentive. Did I just make sense? Did that make sense? It makes sense to me, but
I will listen to it back. It'll be fine.
All right.
After the fake shock died down, RuPaul jumped into this week's mini challenge.
in the great tradition of Paris is Burning, treating is what? Fundamental. Exactly.
Each of the girls took turns, but Katya and Ginger seemed stronger than others.
Fifi O'Hara, you're up, darling.
This is so hard when they're your friends, which is why this should be easy. You know what Adore and the Value Menu have in common? They're both cheap and full of fat.
I just realized, hold on, I just realized that you numbered them differently in the script from what I was just going down the line of the things here. So now I'm like Katya. I'm like Katya. I did not come here to do math. So hold on a second. So Katya was first. Now I'll read Katya. Right.
Coco Montrese. I always wanted to know what the female gremlin would look like in 25 years.
That was a good one, bitch.
Ginger Minge. In my eyes, the true winner of season 7 of TLC's I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant.
Hey.
Roxy Andrews. I think about you all the time, especially in the morning at the bus stop.
Coco. Thank you for proving in season 5 that orange is the new black. Adore Delano. Do you know what makes you the #1 fan favorite of all time?
No.
Neither do I.
Meanwhile, Coco's reads fell flat.
Alyssa Edwards, my darling dear. I can't stand it when you're near. Oh, Mother Goose. Alaska. I'm sure Katya can see you from her backyard.
But in the end, it was Alaska who walked away the winner with her cutting takedown of her fellow contestants.
Detox. No, really, I mean that. This is actually your intervention. You should really stop this. Adore Delano. These other girls are gonna say you have terrible makeup skills, you have no fashion sense, and you're dumb as a rock. But they're wrong. You don't have terrible makeup skills. Roxy Andrews. Obviously, a diet consisting of nothing but hatred for Jinx Monsoon does a body good. Come on, All-Stars, let's get all started. Oh.
Okay, Taylor the Latte Boy, what were your thoughts on the reads from the girls?
I was excited that they did it this early on in the season. I will say that. And I thought Katya's joke about the bus stop was probably my favorite one of all the jokes. So, cause it was so cut right to the,
it was a good one. Yeah.
So, and I have seen on Twitter, I think that she said, by the way, I immediately apologized for that after I said it, and that Roxy was okay with it. But I think it's, you know, anything that's been said on these seasons before, anything that anybody said, it's all fair game. So I think that she was smart to go after it. I can't help but wonder though, if they weren't prepped ahead of time as to what the jokes they were going, like who was going to be there. And I know we've talked about the fact that they all kind of probably talked when they were on tour, but for them to come up with some of those jokes that are so well done so fast seemed very, I'm a little,
I thought about this actually today. I thought about it, but I want to hear Daniel's thoughts first. Daniel.
No, I think that they did. I think that they were absolutely prepared for, the library is open. They were absolutely prepared for whatever they were going to do to come in and make their entrance. And I would even extend it to say this next week, they're absolutely going to be prepared for Snatch Game, because those are things that are on every season. Those are things that as soon as they got that call, as soon as they knew they were on this season, they started working on those things. Which is a lot of my, complaints about the initial part of the show when they came into the workrooms. I just felt like it was over-prepared and stuff, because those are things that they had time to work on. As this season goes along and they get thrown more curveballs that they're not prepared for, I think we will see a lot more genuine stuff on the screen. But yeah, these reads, for something that they prepared for, which is my hypothesis here, I thought they were kind of weak. I mean, it's like Katya's were good, Alaska's were good, but I didn't even understand what Alyssa Edwards was trying to say about the Monsters, Inc.
That was really bad.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think that Coco's fell as flat as it probably did. Like, I think there was some clever editing there, but, I just felt like they were all kind of, wow, that was, you've all had time to prepare this and you didn't really come up with, so hopefully Snatch Game they prepared for better.
Well, I actually thought about this and I was thinking they may not have needed to prepare. Well, first of all, they probably had a good sense of who was going to be there. Unlike a regular season where it could be anybody. This one, they know, okay, it's all stars. Clearly they knew Alaska was probably going to be there. Alyssa, just off the top of our heads, we could probably have gotten 6 or 7 of the queens right off the bat, just without even thinking about it.
I think the thing you also have to remember is that, all right, for a non-all-star season, let's say that you're Donna Sugars and you want to be on season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race. You go through, you make a video, you send it in, you're Donna Sugars, and they're dealing with you, Donna Sugars. Once you've been on RuPaul's Drag Race, you have managers. And it's like, so probably they all knew who was going to be on All Stars because they had to go through management companies to book them to do this show. So it's like probably their managers are like, oh, by the way, Fifi's going to be there. And
not only that, they all know each other. They work together all the time. And not only that, I'm sure that there's some level of trust from World of Wonder, from Logo, where they're like, these bitches are in it already. They know how the game works. And so they can know who else is going to be there. That being said, what we didn't see, which could have totally happened, is, hey, we're going to do the library is open. We'll give you half an hour to write jokes.
Yeah.
Because some of them do seem like that. Like Alyssa's Like, if you're telling me Alyssa Edwards, if you want to play Alyssa Edwards, I have it there, but Alyssa Edwards Reed was like thought out before she got there?
Now, she is a genius.
She's an idiot savant.
She's an idiot savant. I'm sorry. She's an idiot savant.
Yeah. So they may have been given some time to check into it, but they probably, to come up with jokes, but they just didn't do it.
Or I almost wonder if they did a thing where each of yes, there's a chances are that they were all able to ask each other, are you on All Stars? Are you not on All Stars? But I could almost see World of Wonder providing each of them with a list of maybe like 20 queens that may be on the season, and they should probably come with a joke or two for each one. So that way there was still at least some sort of element of surprise as to when they were first walking into the workroom as to which ones actually showed up. Is that a possibility?
Right. And Alyssa Edwards was just like, no, I'll just do Monsters Inc. I'm just going to do Monsters Inc. That's what
I see what you're saying. That's her thing. Yeah. Well, maybe. Okay. Here we go. Next, RuPaul introduced this week's Maxi Challenge.
Now, ever since you sashayed away, I've had my eye on each and every one of your astonishing careers. You've all come a long way, baby. And to prove it, for your first Maxi Challenge, I'm throwing an all-star talent show extravaganza. Tomorrow, in front of a live audience, you'll each get a chance to show us how your charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent has grown. Hashtag Drag Race Talent Show. Gentlemen, start your engines and may the best all-star win.
In the workroom, Fifi shared what talent she would perform in the showcase.
What song are you singing?
Well, I'm actually singing a cappella.
A cappella? Girl, I've been singing my whole life, and I don't sing a cappella.
What?
If you go off your tempo, your timing, your anything, you are...
I know it's pretty ballsy, but I hope that it shows that I'm a real singer tomorrow without any music.
So you do what you do at your fucking shows that people live for.
Later, Fifi shared what she learned since her time on season 4.
I came back because I have a whole lot to prove. I have a whole public audience that thinks I'm a certain way, and I don't want them to think I'm that way.
Oh, you mean everyone thinking you're a bitch?
I do have a bitchy side, and that's an honest side. I just want them to know there's more to me than just some angry little orange monster. I was super embarrassed about how I was behaving and acting on season 4. I still have a lot to prove, especially to the audience. And at the same time, my drag style has completely changed. Now I do a lot of cosplay, and it's really cool and fun. I'm not just this tired-ass showgirl. There is a star in Fifi, and she's ready to shine. This is like a family reunion to me. It's just fun. Like, how are we gonna fight and stuff?
I'm sure you'll find a way.
No, Roxy's over there.
Okay, Daniel. Fifi O'Hara, she's laying down the groundwork for her redemption plot. What are your thoughts, whether she can do it? What are your thoughts on the Maxi Challenge? Tell me.
Well, we're not talking about the Maxi Challenge yet because I see that that's coming up, right? We're not actually talking about
thoughts on it. Yeah.
So this is just they're yeah. I mean, I think we covered this on the last show. I think Roxy sounded more sincere in her wanting to redeem herself. Than I know we haven't heard that clip yet, but Fifi. You know, her whole thing was, I'm here to redeem myself. That was definitely like her driving thing. I was here because I was portrayed as a bitch and I don't want people to think I'm that way.
Mm-hmm. So. What do you think, Taylor the Latte Boy?
One of the things that I enjoy about doing this show with the two of you, is I go back and I listen after we record the show. I listen to it. Because, I'm such a narcissist. I love the sound of my own voice. And I also like listening to what you guys say a second time. And Joe, your comment as far as the redemption thing for Fifi versus Roxy, I saw that. I looked at it through a different perspective, and especially the scene later on, where Roxy and Fifi are talking when it comes down to elimination time at the end. I definitely got what you were saying. And I feel as though this is another example of that as far as this. Look, I need bookings, and I need to show that I am, nice and personable and all that kind of stuff. And that being said, I still want to see the redemption. I still am interested in the arc. But I'm looking at it with slightly different eyes at this point.
You mean like the arc in Tennessee, the Noah's Ark that they just built? Oh, that was a horrible joke. I'm sorry.
That was a horrible joke.
I'm gonna I'm going to flood the earth just to get away from that joke. Manila Luzon actually did a tweet today about exactly that, saying it's something shady, like along the lines of like seeing like the former queens who now want a redemption, but more because they want bookings. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something along those lines about these former queens.
You know what, though? As entertainers, there is a certain amount of wanting to be liked that, yeah, it's great to get more bookings, but it's not like Fifi O'Hara was hurting necessarily for bookings. I think it really just kind of just plays into that whole, I want people to like me. I'm tired of being, people coming up to me and going like, oh my God, I hated you so much. And it's like, I've heard that for 4 years. I want to redeem, I want people on the street to come up to me and say, oh my God, I like you. As opposed,
I'm not saying that that's the case, that she doesn't want people to like her, and she doesn't, but it just, because ultimately we're still talking about the same episode that we talked about last week when we talked about the first 10 minutes. I really want to like her. I really want to hope that we're kind of just reading into it a little bit too much. But that being said, I couldn't help but not kind of give it a second glance after what Joe specifically said last week, and it just kind of made me sort of cock an eyebrow a little bit. But
well, we all know everything I say is very influential.
Yes.
It changes the hearts and minds of the country as we do it. So that's something that we have to totally keep in mind. My thoughts again, I watched the episode again today, and there is just something that rings. I don't know if false is the right word, but it's definitely I don't think
disingenuous
this way. Well, disingenuous to me has like a connotation of trying to deceive. I guess what I'm trying to say is Roxy, it's almost like, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings kind of thing. I don't think Roxy, not Roxy, Fifi. That Fifi, I don't think she regrets what she did in season 4. She just doesn't like the backlash for it. Where I got the sense that Roxy truly does feel badly about what happened on season 5. Now, it could be that they're both disingenuous, and it could be that maybe they're both sincere. That's just the impression that I'm getting from watching that. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Daniel?
No, I think we covered this in the first show, and I think we're all in agreement here. That Roxy's the more genuine of the two. So.
All right, speaking of, Roxy Andrews also took some time to reflect on her growth since her appearance on season 5.
I was a bitch on season 5.
This isn't a joke to me. This competition is extremely serious. You're Jinx Monsoon playing a character.
A lot of girls want to blame editing, and I'm not that girl. I said the things I did. I played those mind games.
Anything that on this TV show that is said, you said it. I let the competition get to me. I was playing dirty, and at that time, Jinx was so close to the crown that how am I going to get her? I'm obviously not as funny as she is. I'm obviously not as smart as she is, and I have to do something. Let me just go for her. And my stupid self said, let's try playing mind games and knock her out.
I learned from my mistakes, and I changed my attitude, and there's no way that can happen again. I don't want to be that girl. I won't be. I refuse.
This is our second chance. Redemption, honey.
Taylor the Latte Boy, what are your thoughts on the Roxy Andrews redemption story?
She, like I said last time, she said all the right things, specifically in this speech where, the one thing that I really liked is that she said, you can say it's all about the editing, but ultimately I said those things. My co-host says all the time, my co-host on Pod is my co-pilot, says all the time, you can film somebody's entire day and boil it down to a half an hour show, and it can either look like they had the best day ever or the worst day ever, but ultimately you did all of those things. And she's recognizing that she did let it get in her head, and again, she's somebody else that I really hope I want to like her. I want to like her because there's parts of her drag when she was on the season that she was on season 5. That was season 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's season 5.
I loved so many of her looks, and I thought she was cute as a boy. But as over time, that interest in her just got uglier and uglier as she got meaner and meaner. And I'm hoping that I kind of reconnect with her as a character through this season.
Daniel J. Brewer.
Yeah. I think we've covered it. I think one thing I will say for the folks listening, which I guess would be everyone, that clip involves a lot of flashbacks, and I'm just thinking specifically, I have a lot of overseas listeners from Dubious Intent that listen to this show that can't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, so it's like that was a very confusing clip to tease out that those were flashbacks to her season of her yelling at another queen interspersed with live conversation of her there. So it was a very, that clip is much easier to follow video-wise than it is audio-wise, but that's it.
Okay. Hit the shade button.
No, I will, but that don't.
Yeah, everyone should know that I'm the one that pulls the clips. So Daniel's like, sorry guys that Joe pulled a terrible clip.
I was just, as I was listening to it, I was thinking like, wait, what was that? Cause we're not seeing the video, we're just hearing the audio. So it's like, I was just, never mind. My God, we've talked about this. Move along. Move the show forward, Joe.
During the All-Star Talent Show, Tatiana wowed the judges with her spoken word, and Roxy brought the house down with her burlesque act. Adore Delano was one of several queens to show off her singing chops.
Shooting star, lighting up the darkness. So lucky that we found this. Yeah, you know you got me losing sleep. I can't believe the beauty of this moment. It's all I've ever wanted. But I can't love you. I can't love you today. I can't love you tomorrow. I can't love you anyway. How you guys feeling tonight? Cool?
What's with that like weird banter?
It's that's a trick to prove that you're not lip syncing.
I was going to say, so that nobody can hear lip syncing. Or so that you shows that she wasn't lip syncing, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I did not even pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was.
Yep.
That's exactly what that was. Okay, meanwhile, Coco Montrese decided to take a different route.
I decided to step out of my box just to show a different side of myself. I hope it pays off for me this time.
Spoiler alert.
Like Adore, Fifi also chose to sing, but unlike the other singers, Fifi decided to go a cappella.
I'm going out tonight.
Cut to she's lip syncing.
My mind. Should we speed it up a little bit?
No.
Speed to the end.
I'm going out tonight. I'm gonna go losing my mind. Oh, DJ, hit me with another beat to give me life. With the melody of music flowing through our veins. We're gonna make love to the club tonight.
Girl, find the note. Find the note.
Tonight we're gonna lose control. Tonight we're gonna lose control. Tonight we're gonna lose control.
Quick note to our international listeners. Coco was not on stage next to Fifi. What you didn't see was that they cut away to a confessional where Coco made that comment. So she did not storm the stage and stand next to Fifi and say that into the microphone.
Wow. Wow. It's going to be one of those evenings, isn't it? Go ahead.
I'm already pissed at you for making me do this video.
Go ahead. You know what? We're doing a video. They may never see it. If I don't like the way this turns out, I'm not posting it on YouTube. So it's like, whatever.
Well, I shouldn't have said that because now people are going to be like, oh, I want to see the video.
No, I want to see the video.
Yeah.
Why are they all talking like Goofy Dog?
Yeah, notice I'm like super like, cause right now I'm like when I Love Lucy or something, like one of those old shows and the camera turns on them and then they're like frozen. Because now I have to okay, look, here's the thing. Usually when I'm recording this, I'm like scratching my balls. I'll get up and walk around. I'm not ashamed to say I have like teabagged the camera while Daniel and Taylor are there just to like, just do it. Now I can't do that. Now I'm like all of a sudden Walter Cronkite. That's a reference that all the 14-year-old listeners will totally understand.
Google it.
Yeah, Google Walter Cronkite. And now all of a sudden I'm just like, and that's the way it is. RuPaul's Drag Race, All-Star Season 2, Episode 1.
Can we talk about this now? All right, here's...
Oh, yeah, okay, and we can also bring it... I didn't pull the clips. We should also talk about some of the other people who performed, because I have major thoughts on some of the other performances. These are just ones that played okay with audio, and they also are important later on.
Okay.
Okay.
Who are you starting with?
Well, you can start with whoever... Well, I'm sorry, let's start with Taylor.
I thought that these three were not the best. I don't know that Adore's was quite as bad as they were making it out to be, but I'm sure we'll talk at length about Adore later. The Coco Montrese thing was actually kind of made me sad to watch. There was something about it that was just I got no idea what I'm doing. And all that kept going through my head, especially at the end of the episode, is whatever happened to Coco Montrese, like with the blonde hair and the 50s, nightgown with all the frills and just the whole thing was bad.
I think, I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you. Daniel made this point last time and I watched the episode again today.
I'm going to make that point when we get to me.
And I'm going to make Daniel's point for him, which is, okay, what was your point? I don't want to take it away from you.
Are you done, Taylor? Are you finished now?
I'm done. I'm done.
All right,
I'm done rambling.
Let's start with the whole Coco Montrese thing. I think we knew that, all right, so editing wise, they knew she was going home. So I think it was kind of clumsily edited, but also Adore sang a song that she wrote. Detox sang a song that she wrote. Alaska and Ginger Minj sang songs that were out of copyright. Katya did a gymnastics routine to a generic piece of music. I believe, and it's my feeling, that Coco danced to a actual copyrighted piece of music that they just didn't want to pay for, so they kind of put in like a generic sounding music that had the same tempo when they cut together her piece. Because it looked like she was telling a story with a picture and a top hat and stuff, and I have to believe that she does this in her show where there's an actual song that has these pieces in it.
I guess I don't understand why you would choose to go outside of, if it's a talent show and this is something you don't normally do, why you would choose the first episode to pick something that you don't normally do.
I think when she said that it was outside of her box, I think she was referring to from the TV show's perspective. Apparently this is something she does in her drag act.
Okay.
So this is not something new to her. This is something that she does as a drag number. Regular.
Well, and just the level of dancing was just not that great. Now, like I said, I don't think Adore should have been in the bottom three. I do think that there are other people that maybe should have been there in her place.
No, and like who? I will tell you right now, I believe that Detox or Katya should have been in the final.
I would agree with both of those.
Yeah.
Wait, what did I miss?
We talked about who should have been there instead of Adore. We were talking a little bit about Coco and then who should have been in the bottom
three. All I did, so let me just finish here real quick. I think the reason that Adore shouldn't be in the bottom three is if you just listen to that clip that we played of Adore, there were no voiceovers on top of it. There was not interrupted at any point in time. That was it was good enough that they left that entire clip untouched to play it there. As opposed to, when, Alyssa Edwards was out there lip syncing, people were talking over it. Like Coco was talking over, Coco's dance and Fifi's acapella singing and stuff. So it's like.
Oh, I forgot about Alyssa Edwards' nightmare. She's the one. She should have been in.
She should have, but, it was dancing and lip syncing.
She's great television. They have to keep her around as long as logically possible.
Yeah, I don't feel like Adore was weak at all. I thought of the singers, Adore and Alaska were the two strongest singers of that group. As far as entertainment and really good. It's I thought Ginger was, and we know I have a problem with Ginger, but I agree with the judges when they said that it was a very slow song and it was kind of, it was just her rooted in place singing a song and,
with her vagina showing.
Yeah. And I didn't care for Detox's thing at all. It was just let's auto-tune the word supersonic. Supersonic, it's supersonic. Dun, 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 dun. It was that's, anyway.
The other thing about Detox, if I could speak for just a minute, and this goes back to the power of the fake expression. When they brought those drums out, doesn't it make sense that they would have had to have filled them with some sort of liquid at that time?
Yes.
Okay, but RuPaul was completely surprised that she hit the thing.
Wait, why? And you gotta remember also there's black lights on the stage. They had to have black lights on the stage for that, so they had to turn on the black lights, get those all set up in a spotlight formation on that area of the stage, and so the paint would also.
And I would think some sort of tarp too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because World of Wonder ain't paying for a whole new runway for everybody. So.
Joe, what were your thoughts? I think we've covered our thoughts here. What were you had some strong thoughts on other people.
I'm actually gonna come down on Adore pretty hard later, but if it's a talent show, yeah, you're right. Not only did she sing her song well, but she actually wrote the song. That's one of the talents. She was a songwriter. She wrote that song about how she can't love somebody, but she'll sleep with them. And, And yeah, Alyssa's was tough, but again, they did this thing where they said like, I think Alyssa was technically variety was hers.
Yeah.
But it really was just dancing.
Yeah,
Did she really have puppet skills? And she was just lip syncing.
Those great
right?
puppet skills.
Also, Detox, her skill on it was singing. She should have been variety. She was just lip syncing her own voice. Right?
And you can tell that. You can tell that because she didn't say, how you guys doing tonight?
Yeah. You know what? That's a really good point. But the one thing where I'm going to disagree with you on, and I'm going to now, review recap shows, is I hate when these recap shows have their favorites, and then no matter what their favorites do, it's always right, and no matter what the ones they don't like, it's always wrong.
Right.
So Daniel doesn't like Ginger, and I was like, oh, Ginger, what? I'm sorry, Ginger was good.
No, absolutely. She should not have been in the bottom 3. Like I said, I love Katya. I worship the ground Katya walks on. She should have been in the bottom 3. That gymnastic,
Coco, Fifi,
walking on your hands upside down, honey, is not a talent.
Well, okay.
Can you do it?
I'm going to disagree with you. I would say maybe, God, who would it be? I'm going to say maybe Detox. Just hitting like paint. Is that your talent? Is you just hit paint?
But remember, Detox wrote that song. So.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, that is a Detox song. So.
Okay. Well then, I don't know. Cause gymnastics is a talent. Don't you agree?
Crickets.
Okay. Well.
No, I again, the three of us can't do it, I would assume. So, I mean, yes, it is definitely a talent there.
But we all agree. I agree. Adore shouldn't have been in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
So.
Can we talk about the top 2?
Well, we have to get to the judges. Move along. We're getting there.
Oh, no, we can talk about the top 2. We just did it.
Oh.
I love the burlesque act was my favorite act. I know the people, they were trying to push the Tatiana spoken word thing, which I thought, I should have pulled it because when you hear it, it's not that great. It's, the visual is a big part of it.
And the music, the hum in the background, that definitely kind of, I think, sold it.
Yeah. But the visuals and stuff, but the actual spoken word itself is, I thought, kind of stupid, but she sold it really, 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 really well. The burlesque act, I was just nuts over. I thought it was so great. In fact, I have a question that I actually wrote down. Actually, I'm glad I remembered this. I have notes I'm not even referring to. I want to talk about Alaska, actually, because my question about Alaska will determine whether she should have been the winner or not. So my question in terms of talent is it terms of like, I think I actually wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it. Is it terms of like actual talent or, here's, okay, I'm sorry. Here, I found it. Do they mean talent ironically or do they mean genuine talent? Because if they mean talent like ironically, like, oh, ha, 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 like talent, I kind of feel like Alaska won because I feel like her song played with that, and she's such a drag. I mean, she is just drag to another level. You know, like over the top drag queen, sort of making fun of the fact that it's a talent show in and of itself, and that she's making fun of singing a song, but yet really singing a song. It was drag, but so is it real talent? Like, oh, we want to see if you can really sing, or is it like talent with quotation marks around it?
I don't know.
Go ahead, Dale.
I don't know that it's talent per se, but it was entertainment. I mean, yeah, it wasn't necessarily the best sung song, and it was a little bit of a weird song and the way she acted and everything, but it was something where everybody seemed very genuinely entertained by it. So in that regards, that is a talent.
Yeah.
I thought it was very reminiscent of old style, like, drag queen, like Harvey Fierstein, like Torch Song Trilogy, you know, where he comes out and he sings a very campy song that he does, you know, in a very campy way.
Or kind of even like a version of Divine a little bit with the faces and the movement. I felt there was a lot of Divine in it, and
I thoroughly enjoyed the you know, I mean, I thought it was I've watched it several times. I really liked it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. On the runway for the not yet. Okay, on the runway for the judges' critiques, RuPaul delivered yet another twist to the competition.
Yesterday, I promised I wouldn't be eliminating any of you. And that's true. Because this season, you'll be eliminating each other. That's right. In addition to receiving $10,000, the winner of the lip sync will be given the power to eliminate one of the bottom queens.
Wait.
Now who's your sister in drag?
They're gonna get rid of the bottoms.
Wow, Daniel, really?
I think that means you and I are in trouble if
I
we
know.
ever played this game, Daniel.
Oh, Sam. Why has it got to be the bottoms?
What do you think, guys, of this twist of the competition, that the winner of the lip sync for their legacy, the lip sync for their legacy has to choose one of the bottom queens? What are your thoughts on that little twist?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it mixes things up. I think, again, one of the things that I hope that we see, at least in the beginning of this, is that they kind of came in knowing what to expect, especially considering there was an All-Stars before. And they even mentioned in the beginning, so who are we pairing up with? And when it became very clear that they were all on their own, I think, and the whole thing that RuPaul said before, they just thought, oh, this is just going to be a celebration of us. And everybody was all happy, touchy rainbows and cupcakes and kittens. And then she says that, and it threw a wrench in. When Alaska says at one point, she goes, okay. Like that was very much he thought, you can only imagine what they were all thinking.
I'm going to tell you something. I think that twist was genuinely kept from them.
No, I agree with that. I think that Katya is a horrible actor. So for her to give that genuine kind of reaction, yeah, she couldn't have done that as acting. That was, I think they really did keep it from her. I love the twist, by the way. I think it brings in a lot of strategy, and now it's not just, oh, you know how to do this. You're just going to come back and go through the motions again and, do exactly what you did last time. Now this is a different game. You've got to think about this in a very different way.
Because if we're talking about this in terms of just production, I'll bet a lot of the queens, because All-Star Season 1 is sort of seen as a disaster. So I'll bet a lot of these queens like Alaska or Katya or a Detox, or even Roxy for that matter, or Fifi, are like, are we doing teams again? Because if you're doing teams, I'm out, right? Because it was so hated, and people who shouldn't have gone. So they probably told them, oh, no, we're not doing teams. In fact, no one's being eliminated. Rue's not eliminating anybody. There was some sort of like double speak. That's why they weren't genuinely surprised. But this one, they were like, oh, bitch, we're throwing you for a loop.
Do you think Michelle didn't know about it?
Oh, that was fake. Michelle completely knew everything that was going on.
That's what
Michelle's face, and she was just like, I was like, bitch, stop. She was like, oh. Like, yeah. So that was, she's the worst actress of all times too. So anyway, okay. So I love the twist. I love it. I think it is, I think we're just seeing the beginning of the different drama that's going to go on.
Absolutely. Where they're all saying, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but the whole, it's let's base it on merit of that's going to last about a hot second.
Yeah. Okay. Next on the runway First up on the judges' critiques. Oh, here we go. Buckled in for a discussion. First up on the judges' critiques, Adore Delano.
First up, Adore.
First and foremost, this is All Stars 2. This is the best of the best. I mean, we are looking at such a powerhouse of talent. I'm going to break down all the tea. If you get hurt, get over it and up your game. Moving on. I will say, on the positive note, I didn't hate your hair.
Oh, thanks.
Which, when you came out, I thought I was going to hate it. It didn't suck.
It's human.
Really doesn't matter whether it's human or not.
I did it myself.
That shows you've done something. Oh. Because the outfit, girl.
Okay.
This is the 14th Street dress. Like, that doesn't fit you. I don't care if you're going to give me your hog body line or whatever it is. It's just, I expected more for you. We see your stuff out there. You're doing your thing. You've got your album. Mm-hmm. You're rocking the world.
You're more popular than me.
Why the gloves?
I thought it looked cool to just kind of like have the focus point be on the legs. That was pretty neat.
I think your rock starness needs to be more leather.
I got a lot of it, girl.
I know, and it needed to happen because it didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
But do you care? Because like everything's like blasé.
Girl, I completely care. I mean, I've expected like you to kind of go ham, but you went ham. So I mean, that's a human reaction to kind of feel shit.
But when I think of you, I don't think of somebody who's going to come out wearing some type of glamorous, crazy cinched outfit, and I think that's part of your brand, and I thought you sounded amazing.
Thank you so much.
Adore did not take the critique well.
I'm crushed. I'm baffled. I just feel like I'm in a vomit. Like, I watch competitions, and I'm like, how do people get to that point? And it's not a good feeling at all. No.
Okay. Daniel J. Brewer, you gave us already a preview of your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this Adore Delano critique that has been blowing up the RuPaul Runiverse?
You know what? There's two different things that were said by the judges that people have been, talking about all this week. And one of them was for Coco, one of them was for Adore. And I think it's a very nuanced line, or a very nuanced thing that upset me about this. It's not so much that Michelle was coming after her look. It was not that Michelle was, it was the way Michelle came at her with the, first off, I don't hate your hair. Like, I know that Adore has been on tour with Michelle and that they've been together, they've worked together before, and there's not a lot of love lost between them. But I thought the specific line of, I know you can say something about your hog body and I don't want to hear that about, like, when she wasn't even going to say that, that seemed to genuinely catch Adore off guard. I thought that was out of line for a judge on a reality show to do, because it's like, don't put words in her mouth. If you're going to critique her, but don't then, do that thing where now you're going to try to steer the argument in a way that, into an argument that you want to have with her, as opposed to, let her genuinely respond to your critique. There's being a judge and being, in giving constructive criticism, and then there's just being a bully. And it's like, making what are basically personal jokes to someone, or personal, what am I trying to say? She's coming at her from a place of meanness that one could only do if they knew her personally. And I think that's what really upset Adore there, was Adore believed that she had this relationship with Michelle at this level. And it would be like me saying to you something that you had confided in me before, and I just blurted out as something in the midst of in order to get better TV ratings or something like that. That's I believe the line that she crossed there. If that's so made so much more sense in my brain than me trying to get it out here, but it really was. It's like, it wasn't that she was hard on her, it was the way she was hard on her, and something, it was a very personal attack that violated a trust between them that I feel that was just over the line.
Taylor, the latte boy?
I would agree with that and I think I would also add the point that even though she said, I'm gonna, tell the tea, I'm gonna spill the tea and blah, 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 the fact that Adore was also the first one that she went after, I think you didn't see quite that reaction with the other contestants that were on the bottom. I mean, at one point they cut to Fifi where she goes, oh my God, like when she made the hog body comment, it felt very much exactly what Daniel said. We've talked before about my triggers with bullies and that kind of stuff. And it felt very much like watching a bully pick on somebody, and you watched,
shut up.
You shut up. Shh. You watched Adore deflate. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen that when they've commented to somebody about a look or something like that. Usually the contestants get defensive, or they never do the thing of where they kind of cut back to them even though they've moved on to another person. And you watched her face change, and it was very hard to watch. And honestly, I would have probably, no, actually I would say that I felt that way. I would have felt that way if it was anybody, even necessarily queens that I don't necessarily care for, as we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But you guys, neither one of you has addressed, was Michelle right?
No, I did address that. I feel like I addressed that earlier on the show. It's just like, that is Adore's look. That is Adore's, that's her style. She has an album cover dressed like that. That's her thing. She even like spends time in confessionals earlier on this episode talking about her grunge look or whatever. It's like, this was very much an Adore look. That was very much an Adore performance. And, this is stuff that she gets paid a lot of money to do all the time. And, so to get that critique, I think it was the hog body line. It's like, that was when Adore, if you go back and watch it, that was when Adore's face, went down. And that was one of those things, just like, oh, low blow.
Taylor?
I'm agreeing with everything Daniel's saying.
Okay. So, again, reading online, Fifi has intimated, via Twitter that actually the edit on the critique made Michelle seem actually nicer than what it was. That actually it was even worse. And then actually when she said, oh my God, it wasn't to the hog body line, it was something else. And, that's why she said, oh my God, because it was actually that Michelle came after her even harder than what we saw on the show. That they've cut it down to give the most positive light possible. That being said, but here's the problem. What I'm going to talk about is not what the possible reality is, because I don't have that in front of me. What I'm going to talk about was what we were presented, knowing full well that the reality was probably worse. Is because it goes back to an inherent problem with Adore, and this is stuff Adore has talked about in interviews, is Adore's not really super into drag. Adore is all about music, and the drag, in fact, almost sort of resents the fact that she would rather be known as, what's her name? Daniel? I forget what Adore's real name is.
I can look it up while you talk.
Yeah.
Danny Noriega, not
Danny Noriega. She would, in fact, she's coming out with an album under the name Danny Noriega. Much like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, she's trying to shed that image. And she actually sees herself more as like a Bowie-like character, as a musician who performs in drag, rather than as a drag queen who performs music.
Yeah, like more genderqueer.
Yeah. So one of the things is that I think she probably did this All-Stars. She didn't need to do All-Stars. She did it either for money or for exposure. Who knows? Maybe as a favor. Who knows what the reasons why she did it? But she's not super into drag. And what's funny is, and there was a thread about this on Reddit this week, which was, because, there was a major backlash against Michelle, to the point that Adore had to come out on Twitter and say, guys, leave Michelle alone. She and I made up. We love each other. This is not,
this a year ago.
We filmed this a year ago. This is long forgotten. Okay. And, I forgot what my point was, but the point that what just happened?
So sorry, that was me.
The point is that Adore Delano, I know what it was. There was a Reddit thread that was, coming out against Michelle, defending Adore, and somebody pointed out like, oh, you guys are all defending Adore now, where before this happened, everyone was talking mad shit about Adore and how sloppy her drag was and how lazy her drag was and how terrible it was. Someone even brought up the pre-show for the season 7 finale, and I was there, and I remember thinking, like, she does not look good. She looks like sloppy, like just sort of, I don't know what that is, right? And so again, I think it's because she's not super into the makeup and the getup and the gown and the this, because drag really isn't her thing. She sees herself as a musician. That being said, I don't think, as presented on the show, not having been at the taping, what I saw on the show wasn't that bad and that much worse than how Michelle is on the regular RuPaul's Drag Race. And yes, there was a tone of familiarity because they do know each other, but to me, that almost, not that it gives license to talk to her that way, but you almost kind of want Michelle to be a little harder on them because, bitch, I know you're not going to get away with this, and you need to step up your game. I'm not saying I agree with her, but I think that the tone and the attitude is blown out of proportion. I don't think, looking back at it, and I watched it again today, it's that bad. In fact, one of the things that comes up is about how she said, when she says, don't give me, you seem so blasé, and with that wasn't even in response to what Adore said to Michelle. That was in a way Adore was responding to,
but by that
Raven
point, by that point, it was clear that she had shut down. It was like she was, I mean, you've been there before at some point in your life. You have to have been where you've gotten hurt and you can't show it because you're in the middle of this thing. And so your brain is trying to process that. And so you're just like, okay. I hear you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I didn't hear any criticism. I didn't hear any critique. I just heard criticism. I just heard tearing her down. There wasn't anything. When she's done that in previous seasons, it sounds like, I don't like the dress. It needs to be tighter here. Cinch because you got the hog body or whatever it is. I didn't necessarily hear that. She just kind of said, boom, 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 hate your hair, hate the dress, hate blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. All right. We spent a lot of time on this.
Well, okay. All right. Now moving on. Next, Coco didn't fare much better.
All right, let's move on down to Coco Montrese.
I thought it was a very brave move to do something very old Hollywood, but I lost your choreography with the dress. And once it got 30 seconds into the number, it was just kind of predictable.
I was waiting for something to happen, but the train didn't leave the station.
Here's my main thing tonight. In your season, you were orange. Tonight, you went from Doritos to soot.
I thought maybe you were trying to give us that kind of silver screen, old Hollywood look, but then I thought, wait, the face and the hands aren't matching.
Yeah, I ran out of time
didn't
and
get
didn't
to the hands.
do my.
I wish your hands would have matched. Then maybe you could have sold it to us.
Okay. I want the record to show before I go to Daniel is I am not the biggest Michelle Visage fan, as we all know. So I'm not like the defender of Michelle Visage.
I wasn't trying to cut you off. I felt like we were just spinning our wheels. I feel like we were just repeating what we had already been saying.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like we were repeating what we've been saying.
I think really what we were doing is we were repeating what we had been saying. And
do you agree with that, Taylor, that we were repeating what we've been saying?
I think that we were repeating what we've been saying.
I agree completely 100% with Taylor when he says that we were repeating.
Well, I don't want to repeat what we've been saying. Daniel, what did you think of
this? Was the other clip that I was talking about. This is the other thing that I saw a lot of reaction from online this week, and I think it was taken out of. I think people just misunderstood what was said. I saw a lot of comments where they were saying like how dare they go after Coco for not matching her hands to her face, and that was a really petty argument to make when another queen blah blah blah. If you listen to what they said, oh, I thought you were trying to do kind of like that gray shade makeup to make yourself look like a black and white picture, and but your hands didn't have any makeup on them, which would have been necessary to achieve that effect. And so it was that kind of gets lost in their critique, but it was for the people that were getting upset about them saying, yelling about putting makeup on her hands, it was it was really in specific relation to trying to look like a silver screen character. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Taylor the Latte Boy, what were your thoughts on the critique of Coco Montrese?
Well, if they were going to give her a critique about her face not matching her hands, they should have critiqued Ginger for the same thing, because her face didn't match her face at various places with this part.
Her face didn't match her face.
Yeah, but Ginger wasn't trying to look like, like
No, I get that,
guy.
but look in HD at the close-up of her singing, and
she kind of sings out of the corner of her mouth a little bit.
Wow, it's terrifying. But getting back to Coco, this is the other example I was talking about as far as watching. I'm not the biggest Coco fan either, but she looked very small by the end. And I know she's a very tiny person, but I mean, she just looked another one that kind of looked deflated. She just looked like, oh, well, I was trying to do something. And even when she said, yeah, I ran out of time, and there was a very defeated look to her. That was very, it was very hard to watch these.
Yeah.
Too. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's difficult because what happens is, I think it's difficult for all of them actually, because, they've left the show, they've left the critiques behind, and then they pretty much for the most part just get praise. So to come back to where they started must be very difficult to actually be critiqued again.
Yes.
So
I could well agree with that.
Finally, Fifi was also taken to task.
Up next, Fifi O'Hara.
Your Balmain dress. You're tiny, Fifi. It totally encompasses your teeny little body, and you just look like a box.
I think the dress is spectacular. Sorry.
When you started to sing, those first couple of bars of that a cappella was so powerful.
But then I couldn't even focus on your voice because it was going in and out of the key, and the audience was clapping completely different rhythm.
Right. I would have loved for there to be some support for your voice because it did get a little wonky.
Taylor the Latte Boy, what were your thoughts?
I didn't like the dress. I thought the dress and the hair didn't necessarily match up with what she was trying to convey with the song. This one didn't seem quite as harsh as the other ones did. What is the first thing that Michelle says before she says?
I think it's the name of the designer of the dress.
Okay. Cause I listened to that 3 or 4 times and I couldn't figure out what it was that she said, but we talked about the fact that we kind of felt like she belonged here, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely belonged in the bottom 3 just based off of her a cappella singing. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Fifi's one of the people who thinks she's far more talented than she is. You know what it is she might be actually a great look queen, as we're seeing with her Instagram, newfound Instagram fame that she has. So she might be a great looks queen. However,
she's like the original Kim Chi.
How so?
But, not to talk about your podcast, but I believe, on your podcast you were talking about how Kim Chi your co-host was talking about how Kim Chi didn't perform very well. Even though she's a great looks queen, she doesn't perform very well on stage.
Yes, but at least I think Kim Chi's aware of that. I don't know if Fifi necessarily is aware of that. Now, granted, before we get any emails, I've never seen Fifi perform, so maybe she is great at performing, but from what I've seen on the show, it hasn't been the greatest thing ever.
And if you would like to send emails, send them to joeiswrong@pride48.com.
After the critiques were over, RuPaul sent the girls back to the workroom, but charged Roxy and Tatiana with an unenviable task.
Tatiana and Roxy, each of you needs to decide which of the bottom queens you'll eliminate if you win the lip sync. And I'll remind you that the winner of the lip sync will win $10,000 cash.
Daniel Brewer, what do you think of this now, this task? I think we've talked about this a little bit. Just briefly tell us what you think about now Roxy and Tatiana having to decide this.
I don't think that we're talking about this later, so I can probably fit it in here. I like the idea. I like the thing about it. I thought the lipstick selection ceremony was so over the top. It was like one of those reality show spoofs or whatever. Like you expected him to be like, you will walk into the workroom where you have found a hooded falcon. You will whisper the name of the contestant into its ear and remove its hood and send it across the lake to retrieve. You know, it's like this massively complex thing of, you know, like selecting lipstick and tucking it into your brassiere and, whatever. I thought it was way over the top and I absolutely loved it. So
that's sort of the beauty of this show is that it can take things to an extreme that somehow work in the overall context of the show. Taylor, what were your thoughts on what the girls have to do?
I think they both looked genuinely surprised that they were deciding before they lip synced.
Yeah.
And I think that again, going back to the psychology when she said, and let me remind you that the winner. So that was in case one of you bitches is thinking, I'll just throw it and let the other one decide. There's $10,000 on the line.
Very good. Back in the workroom, the girls fretted how to handle the job of eliminating each other. Tatiana decided to eliminate the queen with the weakest performance, while Roxy took each of the girls aside for a private conversation. First up, Fifi O'Hara.
I'm terrified. All I'm thinking right now is like, you just got here and then you get put in the bottom on something that you love doing. And you haven't even shown the world this Fifi that you've worked so hard to build up. I don't feel it from the judges' critiques I was in the bottom. I honestly don't. I think they're way harder on Coco. And I think they were extremely hard on Adore.
I'm going off of who I thought was the weakest.
No, totally. No, and I get it. But it's scary. I worked too hard to be here.
Next up, Adore Delano.
I'm feeling a bit embarrassed, working on my confidence and just growing so much. I didn't think that a lot of these feelings would be coming back, and it's not a feeling that, I'm completely obsessed with right now. My thing is, I came into here with a different idea of what it was going to be. I literally work in, punk rock venues for a living with a band. I wear t-shirts and, I'm a drag musician. So to be told that, how do you put back into a bubble of cinching my waist, it's just not the G for me. I, wrote this song, and this shit's personal to me. Music is, my fucking gateway, man. So it's hard.
I get it, girl.
I don't belong here. I don't think I belong here.
You belong here. I think that it's just a hard day.
Finally, Coco pleads her case.
My heart's in my stomach right now. I'm praying that Roxy wins. We're from the same season. We're closer sisters.
What's the tea, girl?
I stepped out of what I normally do. I do it 7 nights a week. And then it's like, yeah, we get it, but you needed to be a little bit more. I'm like,
Now, if you were in this position, what do you do? If I sent Adore home, we just met. She's gonna be like, oh, she's still a bitch. If I send you home, you're my lifelong friend. We go back before all this bullshit, and I'm gonna lose a friend.
No.
You tell me if I sent Fifi home, that she not gonna stop talking to me.
I feel like Roxy's leaning a little bit more towards Fifi.
All right, Taylor the Latte Boy. What did you think about the different pleas that the contestants made to Roxy Andrews?
I thought that whole scene was kind of very contrived as far as now take them all over one at a time and let them plead their case.
Well, Roxy almost says as much when Fifi's trying to convince her of something, and Roxy says, well, I'm going to judge it based on the performance. So she already had her mind made up. So the producer clearly said, look, we need you to take them. We need someone to take them aside.
Look, we're not doing Untuck this year, so we need you to do some drama.
Yeah. So I think that the Fifi thing kind of falls back into what Joe was talking about as far as the manipulation sort of thing of the look, I'm not the worst one, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can hear it.
You can hear it in the where you talked about the seeds of the old Fifi, kind of you could see it bubbling. That was, after listening to and watching the episode again, I thought that's the bubbling that he's talking about. Absolutely. Coco, she was making all sorts of bad decisions, assuming that I want Roxy to win that night. And the Adore thing we've talked about, we would just be repeating ourselves at this point.
Wait, so you're saying that we would be repeating what we had already said?
I think we would be repeating ourselves at this point.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you this question. What do you think, who do you think Tatiana chose?
Oh, I think Tatiana chose Coco, and I think You can even see it kind of in her, at one point she makes a comment something like, well, I don't agree with what the judges said. I don't agree with everything the judges said. So it's like, I'm not going to base it off what they said. So I think she kind of felt like there was a door shouldn't have been in the bottom three anyway. She was just so.
Yeah. It was probably Coco. Coco was going.
Yeah. I don't think either way. Yeah. Either way, Coco would have been going.
All right. Back on the main stage, Roxy Andrews and Tatiana went head to head in a lip sync for their legacies. Both gave it their all, but in the end, Roxy walked away the winner and was forced to announce her decision.
The decision.
New music.
Will the bottom three please step forward?
The decision.
Dead queens walking.
The decision.
Roxy, with great power comes great responsibility.
Trademark Marvel.
Which queen have you chosen to get the chop?
When I was making my decision, I put myself in your shoes. Listening to your critiques, and we got to watch the talent show, my decision was based off of who I agreed with you all was the bottom. So I win money and I might lose a friend, but the girl that I chose is Coco.
Back in the workroom, Coco said, adios.
Wow, I'm the first to be sent away by a friend and not Rue. It's very disappointing, but all stars don't give up.
But wait, there's one more plot twist.
I don't know what's next, but it's not the end of me, so it's not the last you've seen of Coco.
Ooh, girl! Coco girl, all is not lost. So stay thirsty, girl, 'cause it ain't over. You still have a chance to return for your revenge.
No, what? I got a lot to give, and trust me, I'm not holding shit back. Oh, at all.
Daniel Brewer.
Yes, Joe Batanas.
What were your thoughts on the plot twist? Coco, Coco saying goodbye.
Clearly,
what is the twist?
They clearly have invested in some heavy duty percussion. This it's like I felt like the only thing that would have made that better with would have been what I was chanting there. He's just like the decision, like having like a little choir, they're like going the decision. Dun, 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 dun. I guess that's just in my head. Shut up. I don't know. I think this twist is, it's not new. We've seen this in Top Chef. We've seen this, just this season in Big Brother, where the eliminated contestants do some kind of contest to come back into the game. It's probably going to be like the first, let's see, there's 10 contestants. So probably like the first 4 contestants will compete at some point.
Oh, I bet it'll go further than that.
Well, if they do it like Big Brother, where they just do one big competition but if they do it like Top Chef, where it's just every week, that like next week whoever's eliminated then competes with Coco, and then they keep somebody, if Coco could win the next 5 contests of the people eliminated, then she can go back into the game. But if position number 5 wins that, you guys know what I'm saying. No, I'm interested to see where it's going. So,
Tale of a Latte Boy?
Yeah, we were not expecting that. I almost shut it off. I thought at that point it was like, okay, just let the music play. And then when it went to that, because we've been watching old seasons of Top Chef since they've started Last Chance Kitchen. And Babalu and I literally were like, we just sat with our mouths open like, oh my God, this is going to be so awesome. Another great plot twist that makes this so different from previous seasons that I think before when I was saying about all of the queens knowing what to expect, I think we as the audience kind of assumed that we knew what to expect as well. So I like that it's keeping us on our toes a little bit, just like it's keeping the queens on their toes.
I've said this before. I'm not like former host, Donna Sugars, where I'm all about the looks. I'm more about the drama and the intrigue between the queens, the drama of the reality show part. So of course, I love every bit of this. I am so excited to see what they're going to do.
She looked crazy at the end though, when she was doing the I got a lot of shit to give. With the weird ashy face and the blonde wig that had been kind of
what it is?
Slightly askew. And it was
her face is so thin, and those contacts make her eyes look big, and almost like she's an anime character. It's like those contacts, those light brown contacts make her eyes look so big. It's just, I don't know, she looks like a cartoon character. It's really weird.
Okay. Yeah. Joe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Your flow.
No.
That's not true. He totally meant to interrupt you.
He really totally did. All right, ladies, any final thoughts on the episode as a whole? Did we miss anything? Do we have anything that we missed or thoughts on the show at all before we move into anything else?
No, I think we have thoroughly and completely covered it, Joe Batance.
I would say so.
Well, very good. Let's go into our emails.
Well, do we want to go into our emails, or do we want to get to Taylor's contest?
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Do we have updates on that?
Well, yeah. This is why I was trying to move us along here. Yeah.
Well, it's only going to take a second.
Is there any music that you need for your contest?
Not this week, no. Maybe we'll come up with something next week so that you don't have to.
So for those of you just listening, if you didn't hear our very first preview episode of the All-Star season, is Taylor came up with a fantasy league for All-Stars season 2. Daniel and I made our picks, and he came up with some sort of a point system, correct, Taylor?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're going to tell us where we stand now as of week 1.
Yes, and I did some slight modification, being the changing of the rules from what we knew from previous seasons. And the change is in Runway Critiques, the top 2, meaning the 2 that will be lip syncing, each get 2 points, and the bottom 3 each get 1 point. So that's the one change that I made.
Now,
this is something that came up.
Do you remember who your team is, Joe Batance?
Vaguely, but before I say anything, this came up, I don't know whether the last episode or whatnot, about Ruse never said there's always going to be a bottom 3. She just said the bottom.
Right.
Well, okay, but the ones that are up for elimination each get a point. So we'll leave it at that, and then.
All right.
Unlike you, Joe Batance, I remember the teams. I had Katya, Adore, Alyssa, Fifi, and Coco.
Okay.
You had Alaska, Detox, Roxy, Ginger, and Tatiana.
That's a good team.
That is a good team. And right now, Joe is in the lead.
Oh.
So Joe currently has, I got to do math real fast, 9 points, whereas Daniel has 2. No, Daniel has, 2.
Yes!
2 points. But what was the breakdown? What was the breakdown?
Yeah.
Why does Joe have 9 points? What did he get those 9 points for?
No, actually, Daniel has 1.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, so
I like that.
All right. Do you want me to go down by queen?
Well, just tell it. What were the points? What were the points that Joe got?
Okay, Joe got points for having both of the queens in the top 2.
All right, so he got points for having Roxy and Tatiana.
Yes, and also 3 points because Roxy won the challenge.
Oh, yes.
And also he got 2 points for Alaska winning the mini challenge in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
So, and Daniel got 3 points, 1 for Adore, 1 for Coco, and 1 for Fifi being in the bottom, but then he lost 2 points for Coco going home, which leaves him.
I love it.
Yeah. So that leaves him with 1 point.
All right.
So right now, it's anyone's game, but Joe is currently in the lead.
Whatever. Remember, there's also a game going over to pickpete.com. If you haven't signed up for pickpete.com and you are listening to the audio version of this show, you have a day to get this done because it closes up on September 1st. If you're watching the video version of this show, it's long past. So, I'm assuming that I probably won't get this posted before then. Anyway, it doesn't matter. One way or the other, go to pickpete.com. That is pickpete.com. Now we can talk about emails. How's that?
Let's talk about emails.
We got numerous emails from our listeners here. Now, we also got some Facebook messages and some Twitter things, and I'm not going to go through those because this is what happens. Just so a little inside baseball here. When you send us a Twitter direct message, Joe normally replies to you. If you send us a Facebook direct messages, Joe usually replies to you. If you send us an email, I just sit it aside and go, oh, that will be nice to read on the show. So if you want to be heard on the show, you should probably send us an email as opposed to the other two because it just gets hard to try to track all these things down. That being said, there were a few comments made on our Facebook page that I believe Joe will be responding to in his Friday show. But let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about this email that we got from Tommy. Hi, Tommy. How are you?
Hi,
Tommy writes, hey, I won't. He says, hey, Joe, Daniel, and Taylor. I am definitely looking forward to All Stars 2 returning and the return of the recap podcast. To get myself in the right mindset, I went back and listened to the season 7 recap starting yesterday.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It made me realize that I miss Donna. Oh.
Who?
She was,
There was somebody before you, Taylor.
Who?
She was the,
Merle Ginsburg of,
the Merle Ginsburg.
I was just thinking it would be great if Donna could record her runway breakdown. We all think it would be great.
Yeah, so do we.
We all think it would be great if Donna could record. Anyway, I think you guys had a good mix and enjoyed having
We
Taylor.
thought it'd be great if Donna Sugar could show up to the show.
We think that you guys have a good mix and enjoy having Taylor and his latte-ness on this show. I have become a regular listener of Pod as my co-pilot.
I'm so sorry.
But I miss some of Donna's commentary. Here, we can do that for you, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Okay, give me one of the queens. This is name a queen.
Fifi O'Hara.
Girl, with that thirsty wig and that little dress, that little body.
How about Detox?
Girl, are you kidding me with that wig?
There you go.
It's thirsty. It was so thirsty. I was like the Jews in the desert for 40 years, girl, with that wig.
I swear to God, I'm going to make an app. I'm going to make an app for $1.99 in the store. It'll be the Donna Sugars emulator. You just pick a queen and it'll be Joe Batance doing his Donna Sugars impersonation for each one of them. All proceeds will go to me. Anyway, P.S. I listen to all of your podcasts now. Catching Up, Dubious Intent, and the aforementioned Pod is my co-pilot, and Cocktails and Cream Puffs, which is the one that Donna is on. That is all the time I will spend trying to ingratiate myself to you. Anyways, it's always time for a cocktail. Oh my God, you ended it with an MKD, quote there. Anyway, Tommy, thank you so much, Tommy. We do appreciate it.
Is that the notorious MKD?
Mrs. Kasha Davis. Mm-hmm. That's MKD.
Who, in her astute planning came up with the catchphrase, there's always time for a cocktail, put it on t-shirts, put it on everything, and then decided to go to AA.
Oh God, really? Well, good for her.
I know. Hey, kitty girls.
It could be a virgin cocktail.
Right. Hey, kitty girls, writes Jordan Darling. I have a few points from the first episode that I think would be interesting to discuss. Number one. Oh, wait, didn't I read these? Do you think Lip Sync for Your Legacy will last all season? Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah, we answered this.
You didn't read this?
You didn't read this one. We talked about Jordan, that you got an email from Jordan.
All right, fine. I'll just continue. The bottom 3 and the top 2 encompassed half of the cast in episode 1.
Oh, yeah, he did read this.
Yeah, I did. We talked about this one. Anyway, thank you, Jordan.
I don't listen when Daniel talks.
Shut up. Mark, from Musing Mark, writes to us, hey guys, this season looks like it's going to be a good one. I gasped when a door almost went home. All of us, except for Joe, did.
Well,
I'm sorry, that was Growler going off on my phone. Ignore that.
You better have a paper bag with you for the next episode.
But I'm just wondering, hush your mouth. But I'm just wondering.
I don't know. That's speculation.
I'm just wondering if anyone else is sick to death of looking at the tired Drag Race set. Girl, logo, whoever, please revamp that workroom and main stage. Thanks for putting your time and effort into churning out this season's RDRR episodes, Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is time for them to redo the...
I feel that if you go over the seasons, they improve it little bits here and there. I mean, they're very limited. They're using a soundstage. That's not a real workroom. There's no factory. It's on a soundstage, and it's all false walls, and they need to be able to move the camera around.
Oh yeah, no, and I think we talked about this before. Like the untucked set, that plain wall that you see behind them is the fabric of the workroom brick wall. It's like, so the workroom is literally right next to where they filmed Untucked last season. You can see the entrance to it around the corner.
Yeah. And I feel like the main stage always gets a little nicer every year.
Yeah, this season they added a star to it.
Wow.
Here comes another email from Jordan, our second Jordan. This is our 16-year-old Jordan. Hello, it's me again, the male 16-year-old Jordan that Joe seems to have a weird liking to.
That's the most diplomatic way that Jordan could have said that.
Should we establish? I think it's just funny to say that I don't really have a thing for Jordan. Can we please establish this?
Jordan, I'm sure that you're a lovely person. He probably does.
Yeah, I hate killing a joke, but I feel when laws and creepiness are at stake, it's
when
like a
Namble
joke
starts leaving flyers on your windshield.
It's a joke that sort of got out of hand.
Mm-hmm. I'm ecstatic for this season, and the first episode was amazing. You might not have been able to see my choices for Pick Pete because I logged on to my Facebook. Yeah, we can't see anyone else's. Anyway, his choices are Katya, Alaska, and Tatiana. The first two are obvious, but I feel that Tatiana will do well and surprise all the other girls because she has been gone for so long. I'm excited to see where this season goes and how everything will turn out. By the way, Kim Possible was one of my favorite shows. I'm not as young.
Yes!
I'm not as young as you think, Miss Visage laugh. Ha 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 ha.
Yes.
I have 2 questions for you guys if you would take the time to answer them. Nope, I'm sorry. We're going to move on. No, here's question number 1. Could it be possible that Coco would return to get her revenge on Roxy and send her home next week?
I don't think they would play that card so quickly.
I have my own theories on this, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it would be possible for her to come back next week. I think it's an ongoing competition that the queens that are still in the competition won't know about. Only the eliminated queens will know about this extra competition, and it'll probably be like when they get down to the final 4, they bring one back in that could still possibly win. Or it could be something like they just compete to give someone a disadvantage or something. I don't know. Like do kind of like the mole, like where they're trying to sabotage the game from behind the scenes.
I loved the first season of The Mole. Yeah. That was such a great show.
Question number 2. What alliances do you think people will make to help keep themselves away from elimination? What if someone like Roxy promised their $10,000 to someone to keep them from being eliminated?
That game could get deep, but
yeah, I don't know.
My knee-jerk reaction would have been Alaska talks, but it sounds like there's kind of been a little bit of a falling out between Alaska and the other 2 girls.
I don't know if it's a falling out as much as I don't think Alaska liked the image that came out. I think Alaska likes to portray herself as a nice person. And I don't think she liked the image of them because, especially Roxy didn't come out looking very good at the end of season 5.
Yeah.
Detox somehow slipped out of that, but towards the end they both seemed very bullyish. And even in season 5, Alaska wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So I think she just didn't like the association.
There you go. You guys are great. Keep the show going. And Joe, I'll see you in 2 seasons.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't know how deep I want to get into this, but I kind of feel like the last twist is a sort of insurance policy from the producers. I'll leave it at that until after the next episode.
All right. This next one comes to us from Michael. He says, "Hi guys, sorry the rant Hi guys, sorry for the random musings, but I've never emailed in before and I wanted to share some comments on the show. By the way, love the recap and have been listening since last series. Firstly, Daniel, being British, I've never heard of Tim Gunn, but having watched him on YouTube, oh my god, yes. If you recall, that was my theories that Alaska's just Tim Gunn slowed down. Alaska is definitely the one to beat, but I think they're going to build up the bullies from previous series so they have a redemption story arc and win the fans over. In that sense, I'm thinking Roxy might be up there. Completely agree that Coco shouldn't have been in the group. Maybe Jessica Wilde, Bendela Krim, Courtney Act, or maybe Mrs. Kasha Davis. I know it's an odd one, but I think she had more to show in spite of the annoying catchphrase. As to my watching ritual, I have to catch up the first thing in the morning after it's been on in the U.S., often before I go to work and while my boyfriend is still asleep. And then I listen to you on the train to and from work.
Aww.
I have a 40-minute commute.
I love that story. Imagine like in England and there's just like
the English countryside, the rain pouring outside.
There goes the baker with his bread as always. Even though it takes place in France, like it was just like,
but they all talk English, so it's you know.
Well, that's the thing I've never understood about Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. It takes place in France, okay, in France. So in theory, they're all French, correct?
Yes.
Belle,
yes.
Gaston,
Lumiere.
Right? But then Lumiere's the one that's like, I'm in France. What you doing, girl? You know, like, wait a minute.
I don't think Lumiere ever went, what you doing, girl? Your wig is thirsty.
Yeah. It's all about the bass. I'm trying to throw in young references there.
By the way, Michael, you need to hand the conductor your ticket right now. He's walking by. Anyway, keep up the good work, guys, and looking forward to the rest of the series. Mike, P.S., regarding Jordan Darling, wasn't Darling the last name of the family in Clarissa Explains It All?
Well, Darling is also the name of the family in Peter Pan.
That was my first thought.
Which is taken in England.
But they all spoke English.
There goes Peter Pan with his shadow missing. He is such a silly boy. I got nothing.
And then there's Captain Hook, who never read a book.
Who's
but he
always
lost his hand to the alligator. Lost his hand to the alligator. Lost his hand to the alligator.
Hi guys, writes Musing Mark again. I think Michelle was 100% correct when she clocked Adore's outfit for the talent show. Oh, here we go.
Well, Mark, thanks for listening.
I'm growing weary of Adore's weepy responses to the competition. It feels like
I agree with him.
Crybabies do not win Drag Race. She needs to pull it all together or she will be right that she doesn't belong in the competition. I think Joe probably agrees with you. Hey, here's a brand new listener. Oh, by the way, thank you, Mark. This one comes in
There's
from...
no crying in Drag Race?
There's no crying in Drag Race. There goes musing Mark with his eyes all bleary. He is crying at the sound. I gotta... Hi, guys, writes Cam. This is Cam, K-A-M, another one that's gender neutral. So I don't know. Hi, Cam. I'm not...
How do you spell that?
K-A-M. I am not usually the type to write into shows, but I've been a longtime fan of your podcast since finding it in the off season shortly after season 7. I have no idea why I'm being so over enunciating of my words.
Every season of ours is an off season.
True.
I feel today's an off episode. I don't like being filmed. I don't like this.
Well, you're not being filmed. So here's the thing. We always do this show on Hangouts. We always see each other on Hangouts. So there's nothing different about this.
But I don't care if you guys can see me.
It's in your head. So I wanted to get involved. I'm 14 years old, nearly 15, and I live in the UK. Another UK listener. Do you ride the train with Mike? There have been rumors.
Do you know Mike? Because if not, stranger danger, stranger danger. Get the conductor. Ask the conductor for some help.
Well, this is a different musical. Now, because he's 14 going on 15.
I am 14 going on 15. No, that's a different one.
No, this one's more like, consider yourself a fan. Consider yourself
part of the family.
Part of the
Drag Race family.
There you go.
Joe already has a boyfriend. His name is Jordan and he's 16.
There have been rumors that Alaska's ex has been spilling some tea about what happens on All Stars, and I was wondering whether you think that this leak could hinder Alaska's chance of winning it if she were to make it to the top 3.
I actually have thoughts on this.
I don't know.
Since she technically violated her contract by talking about the show before it aired. I hope it doesn't because I'm originally pegged her as my winner, but now I'm low-key rooting for Tatiana. My pick queens are Alaska, Tatiana, and Alyssa, but after the first episode, I really have no idea who will make it to the top 3, let alone snatch the crown. A lot of them were good in the talent show, and I really think it could go to any of them at this point. Thank you for continuing to make such good podcast. Cam G, consider yourself.
Well, okay, so they haven't filmed the winner yet.
Correct.
Are they going to do a reunion, do you think, like they did with the...
No, they're not doing a reunion. They may have filmed the winner. I don't know that one. We don't know if it's only a bottom 3. Top 3.
Yeah, if past is what am I trying to say? If past is prologue, then we can assume that they have filmed all the way to the top 3 and then they will have a finale.
But All Stars, they filmed Chad getting it on the stage like they did with the old seasons.
Right.
But they had started moving to where they did the live.
Yeah.
So I
think in order to keep spoilers down, they like doing that. But
they could have filmed 3. They could have filmed 3 finales in house.
But I think that the argument that would have been made from the production company would have been. I'm sorry, my cat is up in my lap here. I think the argument that would have been made in the production company is why? Why would we do that? Let's do the live show. That works really great.
But I think that's very expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
They sell those tickets. I think that covers their costs.
Yeah, stupid tickets. So yeah.
What are your thoughts, Joe Potence?
A lot of the tea did come from Alaska's ex-boyfriend who posted. That being said, there was a development today, everybody. A development today where one of the Reddit detectives, one of the Nancy Drews, come through Nancy Drew on the RuPaul's Drag Race subreddit, did a little investigating and has a theory that this boyfriend is cooked up by World of Wonder to manipulate Reddit. And that there's this Twitter page from supposedly a former World of Wonder employee who talks about how World of Wonder has false Reddit usernames that they use to spread misinformation. So that maybe perhaps there's a little bit of truth. So they released through this ex-boyfriend the lipstick for the legacy, that Coco goes home first, but that something about episode 6 destroys everything else that was released, that it would make sense that they would just sort of say, oh, it's an ex-boyfriend, but nothing happens to Alaska. So just to throw Reddit off the scent. That being said, World of Wonder does seem like an idiotic company, so I don't see them going through all that effort.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that we've ever really seen them show any kind of...
Now, on the counter argument is this Twitter follower only has very few followers, and they're all bots.
Well, there you go. Almost done here. Let's get now to our next email. Hey boys, love the cast. Listen to it now Mondays at work. Thanks to Rue, I now have something to look forward to on Mondays. Anyway, I put in my picks on Pick Pete. Alyssa, mostly because I have seen her here live in Dallas, but I do like her, Alaska, and Detox. The last two because I feel they are already stars. I really want Adore to win, in all honesty. Also, here's a pick of me at work where I listen. Since you like to see who listens. Oh my God. It's like English. I don't understand it. Unless you only like the 16-year. Oh my God. I'm going to read this sentence again. I'm going to get this right. Here is a pic of me at work where I listen. Since you like to see who listens, unless you only like the 16-year-olds. LOL.
Hi.
Is John. This is a picture of John. This is a picture of John in his cubicle. I think John is very handsome. I wish that I lived in Dallas.
What's this voice Taylor's using?
Hey, bro. What you doing? Yeah, bro.
It's Taylor the Latte Bro.
No, I did Facebook stalk John earlier. I believe he's married, so.
Okay, well that makes it
boring.
Anyway, thank you very much, John. We do appreciate it. And welcome. Consider yourself, we don't have to.
He's not British.
Yeah, he's not British.
Bro.
He's from Texas, so it's just like, I don't know. I don't know any of the music.
He's from Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, we have an email here from Pumpkin Spice. Hi guys, my name, that was me exhaling. That wasn't not about your name. Oh my God, it doesn't matter. Hi guys, my name is Pumpkin Spice and I'm a 19-year-old drag queen just getting my sea legs in Boston. Hey, yay, Northeast. I listen to your podcast all the time and look forward to it. I look forward to it almost more than the actual show. Okay, not really, but I look forward to you guys a lot. You know what she really listens
Not this episode.
I know. You know what she really looks forward to is me butchering these emails. I was listening recently to your initial thoughts on the All-Stars 2s and just wanted to put forward a thought that I had. Joe mentioned that he felt Katya's act was wearing thin and that it was the fact that she was self-aware and was causing the act to tire. While I agree with this to some extent, but leave the Boston girls alone, please and thank you, I think that that analysis better applies to Alyssa. I loved Alyssa on season 5, but found her exceedingly annoying in this first episode of All Stars. I think it's because what made me fall in love with her in season 5 was that she had absolutely no idea of her comedic value and took everything so seriously that it was just hilarious to watch. On All Stars, however, she seems to know that people think she's super funny and so is playing it up, that persona, to the point where I want to forgo tucking and use the duct tape to tape her mouth shut. It makes me sad to see a queen who grew in a direction that made her less likable, but I'm loving All Stars 2 and your podcast. Signed, Pumpkin. P.S. Michelle Williams, on the last episode, you said you couldn't keep up with Daniel and Joe, but girl, you were right there with them, and you're one of my favorite parts of the podcast, and don't you forget it.
Oh, I like that. Yes, I like when Taylor gets compliments.
Thanks, Pumpkin. That's
I
awesome.
actually,
could I just say something?
Okay, enough of you, Taylor. Anyway,
No.
I think
I really needed that today. So thank you very much for saying that. I really needed to hear that today.
Taylor, Daniel, do you have the Mirror Moments music?
No, I'm not doing a mirror. Fuck you. I'm not doing a mirror moment. I just needed that today. That's all.
I don't actually have the Mirror Moments music. I forgot about that. You should have put it in the script. If you put it in the script, I would have added there, but it wasn't. All right.
No, it just came up right now. So like, that right now, if I'm a producer of RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm like, oh, Taylor, what happened today?
Yeah, Taylor, what's wrong? Why are you so blue, Taylor? Hey, Taylor. Why are you so blue? Is it because Adam said that you sounded like you were the gay one on the show? Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you guys for the emails. Now, by the way, Taylor, you know what? You've gotten a lot of love on you should read some of our Twitter messages, the Twitter direct messages and Facebook. I think you have been name checked in at least 2 of those where people said that you were their favorite part of the show.
I will do that. I will go and check that out.
There you go. Go ahead, Joe, take us out.
Oh no, we have to do our listener response contest.
Oh, what's our listener response contest?
Where we each pick which one of our fans is going to email us first.
Oh, all right. Who's going to go first?
Well, who won? I won, so I get to go first.
You get to go first.
So whoever wins gets to go first next week. So I'm going to go with hashtag Tyler H.
Ah, now you know hashtag Tyler H is allergic to email, so good luck with that.
Oh yeah, you know what? Thank you, Daniel. Let's clarify the rules.
You've already made
No, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it. I'm not changing my price. I'm just clarifying the rules. You have to email us at RuPaul's Drag Race at pride48.com, correct?
I thought it was RDRR.
It's RDRR at Pride48.
I also love how he's taking his time to give hashtag Tyler H a couple of extra minutes before the other two people, in case all three of our selections are listening.
Okay, that's a good point. You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. Go ahead, Daniel.
I'm going to pick Coastal Satyr. I'm going to pick Satyr69, the host of the Satyr Sphere, who was upset that no one picked him last time. He was upset that nobody picked him last time. So there you go, Satyr buddy. I'm picking you. You're my choice.
And Taylor the Latte Boy.
I am picking Sarah Yu.
Oh, good choice.
Sarah Yu, who sent us that lovely email last week, or that lovely Facebook message, but she has to send an RDRR at pride48.com.
And you know what? Just to make it more fair, I can't check it. Everyone listens in different times. Never mind. Okay. So they have to send an email. You have to send
Tyler H. You have to wait 2 minutes before you actually send your email in case everybody is listening at the same time.
You know what? Okay, here's what we'll do, Taylor. Hashtag Tyler H. gets a handicap of 2 minutes.
Also, if they came in within 2 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that as a
excellent.
Satyr's going to blow them out of the water though, because Satyr listens as soon as stuff like this comes out.
All right, fine. So here we go. So remember, next Friday there will be a first look show that will come out. That'll be Joe Batanz's show, where he will cover some stuff that was on the Facebook and Twitter.
Guys, I am telling you, you are going to want to tune in. Oh, I have another announcement too. You are going to want to tune in for this first response episode, because there's some scandalous Facebook messages. I'm going to give my thoughts on all the queens and the latest episode. We're going to read emails. So if you have emails, send them in. I'm going to read them. It is going to be such a good episode. Make sure and download the Friday first response. That being said, if you have a Sirius satellite radio account, I will be on the air with Larry Flick promoting RuPaul's Drag Race Recap, along with Daniel. Well, we can't announce the other show yet because I'm still up in the air about that. But I'll be promoting possibly another show with Daniel and Adam. Taylor didn't want to be, we fired Taylor, essentially. But also, we're going to be talking about the previous night's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race on Sirius Satellite Radio on the, what's the name of that channel?
E Entertainment Radio.
Entertainment Weekly channel, isn't it?
Oh, Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah, it's the Entertainment Weekly channel. I think it's channel 105. On your Sirius Satellite Radio at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific.
Oh, I'll be home then. I'll be home from work, so I'll be able to listen.
Okay. Did you listen to the last one, Taylor?
I have it. I have the MP3s. I haven't listened to them yet.
Now, when is it? What was the specific date?
It is this Friday. What is the date this Friday? September 2nd. Friday, September 2nd.
Oh, here's a fun thing. If you have a Sirius satellite radio in your car, whether or not it's activated or not, it is free. They got everything turned on until the 7th. So you don't even need a Sirius subscription. If you have access to a Sirius radio in your vehicle, you can tune to that channel and it will play.
Okay. If you have a Sirius satellite radio in your vehicle, even if you're not subscribed, Friday, September 2nd, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, on the air with Larry Flick, channel 105, Entertainment Weekly channel, talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. That's my announcement.
Great. Now read what you wrote, Pumpkin.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Follow us on Twitter at Drag Race Recap. Friend us on Facebook at facebook.com/Drag Race Recap. And make sure to visit our website at dragracerecap.com, where you can find all of our contact information, leave us a comment, and find all of our old episodes. So, until next week, for Daniel Jucifer Brewer, Taylor the Latte Bro, and myself,
sashay away. Till next week, brah.